The Stars Intrigue, The Origin Code. Chapter 1, The Enigma of Lucier. Maya's mind raced as the red lights bathed the lab in urgency. Containment protocol? That's only supposed to trigger for a containment breach, or espionage. Ethan's voice was steady, betraying none of the concern they both felt. Well, now we know for certain we're onto something. The question is, who else knows? She approached the console, her fingers flying over the holographic interface, bypassing the security measures. We need to get this lockdown lifted. This lab is my life's work. We can't let them take it. Your work, Ethan echoed, taking a step closer to the console and observing Maya's swift actions. Not to mention this could be our only lead to whatever secret this artifact is holding. The monitor flickered, and the security alert wavered but held firm. I'm locked out of the system, she confessed, the frustration evident in her voice. She thought for a moment. We need to get to the AI core. It controls all security protocols. An uncomfortable realization washed over Ethan. Let's say we do get to the AI core. Even then, we'd be up against the entire facility's defenses, won't we? If we don't try, the artifact will be gone, and our chance along with it. Maya's gaze met Ethan's, finding an unwavering determination. There's an access panel 2 floors down that leads to the maintenance tunnels. It's our best shot. Ethan nodded, acknowledging the plan. All right. Lead the way, Doctor. Maya accessed an emergency panel, and with a quick rewiring, the lab's doors slid open. They stepped out into the corridor, which was eerily silent except for the still blaring alarms. The once bright and bustling hallways of the research facility were now dimmed, shadows casting long and ominous shapes against the walls. As they moved, Ethan kept a careful eye out for any sign of facility guards or automated defense drones. So much for a quiet night of research, he muttered under his breath. Maya offered a wry smile in return. Discovering the unknown was never going to be quiet. They reached the access panel and Maya quickly worked to open the hatch. With a hiss, it swung open, revealing a narrow descent into darkness. The maintenance tunnels below were cramped and humid, lined with fiber-optic cables and glowing power lines running like veins. It was an unseen world beneath the gleaming surface of Lucier. This way, Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. They clambered down, their feet finding the rungs of a metal ladder bolted to the wall. Emerging into the tunnels, they found themselves in a web of infrastructure that kept the facility alive. They had to navigate the winding network to find their path to the AI core. That's going to be quite the journey, Ethan observed, eyeing the labyrinth they were about to traverse. Maya took the lead. Yeah, but it's one we have to take. Together, they began their clandestine traverse through the veins of Lucier. Every step they took unraveled threads of a looming conspiracy, the pulsating rhythm of the heart of the facility guiding them closer to the truth, and to the hidden dangers that awaited them around each corner. Chapter 2, The Shadows of Knowledge. With the rhythmic pulse of Lucier's core system guiding their way through the underground tunnels, Maya and Ethan advanced cautiously, their sense of urgency mingling with the heat radiating from the machinery surrounding them. These tunnels remind me of the catacombs beneath the surface of Tyrannies. You never knew what ancient trap or creature you'd find in the shadows, Ethan said, his voice tinged with nostalgia and a hint of excitement. Maya glanced at him, her voice focused. Let's hope we don't stumble upon any creatures here. Time is our main adversary right now. Emerging from the tunnels into a utility room, Maya and Ethan cautiously opened a service hatch that led to a dimly lit corridor. The facility was vast, with each turn offering a view of laboratories and arching doorways. The place was unsettlingly deserted, save for the distant echoes of alert sirens and intermittent warnings over the PA system about the ongoing security breach. As they navigated the halls, Maya reviewed her mental map of the facility. The AI core should be just up ahead. It's heavily guarded, but if we can access it, we might stand a chance of lifting the lockdown and investigating the artifact's message with full resources. Ethan nodded, his observant eyes scanning their surroundings. And if things go south? We have to be prepared for that possibility. The interests behind this lockdown are as enigmatic as the artifact. Maya's words were tinged with a mix of apprehension and resolve. They reached the AI core's entrance. The door stood forebodingly silent, a sleek slab of alloy with security measures gleaming ominously. Ethan inspected the door's control panel. I've seen some high-grade security before, but this... Maya, can you bypass this? Only one way to find out, Maya responded. With a steady hand, she interfaced her portable decryption device with the panel, the glow from its screen reflecting in her determined gaze. For a few heartbeats, the only sounds were the soft bleeps of the decryption tool and the distant, muffled drone of the alert system. Then, the panel beeped affirmatively, the light shifting from red to green. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing the nerve center of the facility, a room bathed in pale blue light, filled with the hum of the AI core's power. Nicely done, Ethan muttered, impressed. This is just the first step. Now for the real challenge, Maya said, her voice a mixture of trepidation and excitement. They entered the room, approaching the core, a monolithic pillar of technology pulsating with the essence of the facility's intelligence. Maya prepared to interface with the AI, to plead their case and regain control. I just hope it's willing to listen, she murmured. As Maya's hands hovered over the core's console, a disembodied voice filled the room, echoing with a synthesized clarity. Dr. Maya Chambers. Security breach detected. Please authenticate. Taking a deep breath, Maya spoke. This is Dr. Chambers. Emergency code Alpha 3 Tau. Initiate security override. The machine paused, considering the command. Authentication accepted. State the nature of your override request. Before Maya could respond, Ethan quietly said, remember, whatever happens, we're doing this for the greater good. Maya nodded, turning back to the machine. Lift the lockdown. This breach is a misunderstanding. The research must continue. The AI hesitated, processing the implications. Then the room lit up as the lockdown protocol disengaged. The AI's voice announced calmly, lockdown lifted. With a shared glance of relief, Maya and Ethan knew the real work was just beginning. Their collaboration had survived its first test, but the shadows of knowledge they now faced would require all of their combined wits, courage, and determination. Chapter 3: The Webs of Conspiracy. As the AI system's voice confirmed the lifting of the lockdown, Dr. Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair swiftly made their way back to the lab, the facility's lights gradually returning to their regular glow, dissipating the crimson hue of emergency protocols. The silence of the previous moments gave way to a cautious buzz, scientists and personnel emerging from their shelters, conversations igniting in hushed earnestness as they speculated on the cause of the lockdown. Back to our lab without further interruptions, Maya said, drawing a breath that tasted like relief. The artifact awaited them, promising the revelation of secrets entangled within its ancient script. Ethan, peering down an intersecting corridor, caught the eye of a passing security officer. We're not out of the woods yet, he murmured. I have a feeling we're about to step into a bigger game. They rounded a corner and found themselves standing again before the lab door. With an access card swipe, Maya ushered them into what should have felt like sanctuary. Instead, the shadow of trepidation loomed, faint but undeniable, as if the lab's every molecule vibrated with the tension of uncovered mysteries. A new message awaited Maya's secure terminal, an encrypted communiqué hinting at the intrigues woven through the facility's very fabric. It's from Ambassador Azura of the Zalorian Council, Maya said, her finger hovering over the holoscreen. And she wants to meet immediately. Ethan leaned over Maya's shoulder, the message catching his eye. The Council? That's deep space politics. What's their interest in our discovery? It seems our artifact may have far-reaching implications, Maya stated, her back straightening with the weight of potential realization. The ambassador believes it could be pivotal in resolving current alliance tensions. The sort of revelation that could move mountains or, in our case, shift star systems, Ethan quipped, the gravity of the situation not lost on him. It's up to us now, Dr. Chambers. Maya nodded, her resolve reflecting in the determined set of her jaw. We'll need to be strategic about this. If we're to walk this tightrope of galactic diplomacy, we'll need a plan. Ethan considered this. You decode the science. I can navigate us through the politics. Together, we stand a chance. Their alliance, born from united intellect and purpose, now faced a delicate dance between discovery and diplomacy. Maya knew the genetic enigma they held in their hands might possess the power to bridge ancient divides, a prospect as daunting as it was thrilling. I suppose this means you're in for the long haul, Maya said, a small smile playing at her lips. Ethan returned the smile with a nod. Wouldn't miss it for the cosmos. With stakes now reaching beyond the walls of the lab, into the star-strewn canvas of galactic affairs, their journey into the tangles of history and political intrigue had truly begun. The secrets the artifact whispered in the dark held keys to knowledge that could bind or fracture the intricate tapestry of the interstellar alliance. Maya and Ethan, side by side, braced themselves to unravel the webs of conspiracy closing in around them. Chapter 4: Shadows and Revelations. As evening cloaked a Lucier in shades of twilight, Dr. Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair re-entered the lab, the urgency in their steps betraying the weight of their meeting with Ambassador Azura. The lab, aglow with the sterile precision of scientific pursuit, seemed unassuming to the untrained eye, yet it now housed a beacon of historic revelation, the artifact. Sitting quietly on Maya's workbench, waiting to yield its secrets. The ambassador was clear. We're not just piecing together the history of a lost civilization, Maya began, her hands methodically setting up equipment for a deeper analysis. This has become a critical focal point for the entire alliance. Ethan, watching her steady concentration, replied, and for every civilization that looks to the alliance for a semblance of peace. The Zalorians have entrusted us with a heavy mantle. Maya nodded, her focus never wavering from her work. They've been guardedly optimistic about the role this could play, especially as a counterpoint to General Steele's agenda. Ethan grimaced at the mention of the name. Steele, now there's a saboteur if there ever was one. His fearmongering about the genetic anomalies could jeopardize all we're working towards. It's more than just anomalies, Ethan. Maya paused, her eyes meeting his. It's the very essence of genetic evolution we're dealing with. The potential here it's unprecedented. A shared silence hung between them, both acutely aware that their next steps had the potential to ignite a scientific and political renaissance, or an upheaval the likes of which the alliance had never seen. As they contemplated their next moves, the lab's communicators chimed with an incoming message, a stark reminder that their work and their every decision were being observed. Ethan's eyes narrowed as he accessed the message, his jaw setting in a firm line. Steele's operatives are more relentless than I thought. They're already spinning a narrative against us, painting our research as dangerous, playing to public fears of the unknown. Maya's hands clenched into fists, her usually calm demeanor giving way to a glint of anger. Fear of the unknown. We must illuminate knowledge, not power from it. It's what we scientists live for, what drives the explorer's heart. Ethan leaned against the bench, a determined resolve hardening his features. Then we'd best get to work and bring these revelations to light. The shadows of ignorance can be just as perilous as those of deceit. The night's labor began earnest, Maya and Ethan plunging into the depths of genetics and languages long forgotten. They toiled to unravel the once silent stories etched into the artifact, a cipher that sang of ancient beginnings and ends, of knowledge that had shaped the galaxies. As the starlit sky of Lucier deepened into night, they stood on the cusp of a breakthrough, the lab now a crucible of Destiny. Here in the quiet, amidst shadows and revelations, the next chapter of their journey was poised to unfold, a chapter that held the promise of reshaping the galaxy's future. Chapter 5, Alliances Forged in Shadow. In the quiet before dawn blanketed Lucier, Dr. Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair toiled under the soft hum of concentrated analysis. Each newly revealed genetic marker from the artifact's enigmatic blueprint brought a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The implications of what we're uncovering could redefine interspecies relations, Maya mused, her hands never idle as she recalibrated the genomic sequencer. If we're correct, this genetic framework predates our earliest records by millennia. Ethan, perusing a series of holographic data charts, added, "It's a revolutionary discovery, and it makes us targets." General Steele will surely see this as a threat to his tight grip on the Alliance narratives. As they pieced together the artifact's message, the first whispers of dawn cast a new day's light through the lab's panoramic windows. The morning's peace stood in stark contrast to the darkness that had enveloped their world, a darkness that Maya and Ethan knew was not yet vanquished. The communicator pulsed with a green light, indicating a secure channel from Ambassador Azura. Maya initiated the connection, and the ambassador's composed visage materialized before them. "Ambassador," Maya greeted, "we're making progress." Ambassador Azura's expression remained serene, but carried an urgency that betrayed the delicate tightrope of her position. Time is of the essence. General Steele's machinations grow more desperate by the hour. He's sowing discord, claiming your research could unleash a genetic anomaly he's dubbed the evil gene. Ethan scowled. Fear, the eternal suppressor of knowledge. That man's obsession with control could unravel everything. Azura nodded solemnly. Precisely why we must counter his narrative. Dr. Chambers, Mr. Sinclair, I propose an alliance. Together we can stem the tides of misinformation and bring the truth of these revelations to light. A momentary silence fell, the gravity of the ambassador's proposal a tangible force in the room. To forge an alliance with a member of the Zalorian Council was to commit to a dance with the intricate web of galaxy-wide politics, a dance that could lead them through shadows towards an enlightened stage. I agree, Ambassador, Maya said after a moment, her voice ringing clear with determination. The potential of this discovery far outweighs the risks. We'll need your insights into the Council and the Alliance's workings. And I'll handle the rouge elements, Ethan declared with quiet confidence, smoke out the spies, undercut Steele's influence where possible. Azura's image inclined her head. Then, together, we shall cast a new dawn on the Alliance, one that holds the promise of unity rather than division. As the hologram faded, Maya and Ethan shared an understanding glance. By entering an alliance with Azura, they had taken their first steps into a broader arena, where the stakes played out across star systems, and the risks danced with the great celestial bodies themselves. Our partnership has evolved into something much more than we initially anticipated, Maya said, her sight set beyond the lab walls. Ethan nodded in agreement, his mind already plotting their next move. It has, and there's no turning back. Let's light up the galaxy with truth. The sun's first rays mixed with the cool artificial lights of the lab, casting new shadows that Maya and Ethan were now ready to challenge. With each other, and with the Zalorians, they would forge alliances within these shadows, pacts that held the power to guide the galaxy towards a unified future or send it spiraling into chaos. Their pact was sealed, an accord as delicate and vital as the strands of DNA they endeavored to decipher. Chapter 6, Echoes of Intrigue. Dr. Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair, with the enigmatic force of Ambassador Azura now behind them, set forth on their nuanced mission amidst the labyrinthine structures of Lucier. The facility served as both a beacon of academic pursuit and a battleground of clandestine operations, unbeknownst to the countless researchers and administrators walking its polished corridors. With each layer of the artifact's genome they decoded, Maya and Ethan unraveled an intertwining history that resonate deep within the fabric of the galaxy. The Zalorians were right, Maya whispered, analyzing the genetic patterns that predated any known civilization. This changes everything. Ethan surveyed the lab, alert to the subtleties of their perilous situation. Steele's leeches could be anywhere, searching for a way to twist this discovery to his favor. We need to outsmart them at every pass. You focus on the external threats, Maya suggested, eyes unblinking from the chromatic dance of data screens. I'll continue to work the genetic puzzle from here. As they activated their new plan, the reverberations of their endeavor echoed through the facility. Even as they closed in on the secrets of the artifact, the insidious forces employed by General Lucius Steele were one step behind, their eyes and ears concealed within the Science Hub's vast network. Ethan's commitment to intercepting Steele's agents took him beyond the safety of the lab, delving into the shadowy mesh of politics brewing within the very walls of Elucidator. Employing his knack for navigation, he threaded through the social strata of the research complex, discreetly sowing the seeds of truth to counter the general's waged war on fear. Meanwhile, Steele, perched in a chamber festooned with his accolades of service, watched the feeds coming from his hidden eyes. His grip tightened around the arms of his chair, the implications of Maya's and Ethan's progress a splinter to his ambition. They cannot unleash what they do not comprehend, he hissed, plotting further machinations to halt their advance towards enlightenment. As the day unfolded, the facility thrummed with whispers, some of discovery, others of trepidation, and a quiet minority that bore witness to the truth that Maya and Ethan pursued, a truth that was a gem amidst a tide of misinformation. The duo stood now more than merely scientists. They were keepers of potential genesis and guardians against the swell of conspiracy that lapped at the edges of their findings. The journey they had embarked upon was no longer confined to the sterile aisles of the research facility, but spanned the vast and intricate web of galactic intrigue. Tension mounted as the fate of their revelations hung between the silence of shadows and the din of discovery, with every decoded sequence bringing them closer to the precipice of a new age, or the abyss of crushed ideals. Chapter 7. The Veil Lifted. In the sanctuary of a hidden safe house, away from the prying eyes of Elucidator's surveillance, Dr. Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair, alongside Ambassador Azura, regrouped following a narrow escape from General Lucius Steele's operatives. Maps of star systems and holographic data arrays painted the room in a pale, pulsating glow as the trio plotted their next move. The once abstract code of the artifact now read as a tangible series of genetic instructions, blueprints to an ancient civilization's legacy that bridged eons. We're standing on the edge of a revelation that could reshape our understanding of the universe, Maya stated, her eyes locked onto the luminescent strands of genetic code that floated before her. But Steele will stop at nothing to prevent this knowledge from coming to light. Ethan, perusing a series of encrypted messages on a handheld device, added, he's ramping up his campaign to discredit our work, claiming we aspire to play gods by meddling with forgotten sciences. Ambassador Azura stood solemn, her attire reflecting her station within the Zalorian Council, a blend of regality and purpose. General Steele's reach extends deep into the fabric of the interstellar alliance. If we are to act, it must be decisively and with clear proof of our intentions. Gathering her resolve, Maya spoke with a newfound gravitas, then it's time to lift the veil. We must reveal our findings to the broader community, expose the truth of what. Chapter 8. Tides of Change. As the galaxy awakened to the echo of Maya and Ethan's revelations, worlds spun in a storm of debate and contemplation. The information they broadcasted rippled through star systems, igniting discussions amongst the highest echelons of the interstellar alliance and the humblest citizens alike. The unveiling of the ancient genetic blueprint held implications too vast to ignore. Ambassador Azura's message had been clear and poignant, delivered with the gravity of someone who knew the weight it carried. What Dr. Chambers and Mr. Sinclair have unearthed is not a threat, but an opportunity, a glimpse into the shared heritage of life itself, across the cosmos, Azure declared across the interstellar airwaves. Back on Lucier, the revelation had thrown General Lucius Steele's plans into disarray. His usual composure buckled as he watched the alliance he had manipulated for so long begin to fracture. With a hardened resolve, he commanded his forces to seize control of critical communication hubs, aiming to smother the growing discord. Contain this outbreak of truth, Steele ordered his subordinates, his voice a knife edge of authority and desperation. We cannot let these idealistic notions undermine the structure that has sustained us. As the galaxy churned with new sentiment, Maya and Ethan, now more than mere researchers, became the voices of a potential revolution. Their discovery symbolized the thirst for knowledge and the desire for unity that had long languished under the fear-mongering of those like Steele. On planets where Steele's influence once seemed insurmountable, administrators and citizens began to openly defy the general's draconian stance. Their voices amplified the call for transparency, clamoring for an end to the obfuscation of knowledge and the silencing of scientific discovery. The chapter reached a turning point as factions within the Zalorian Council, inspired by the courage of the intrepid duo, openly challenged Steele's authoritarian tactics. Feeling the tide turning, these council members called for a re-examination of alliance policies and a renewed commitment to the pursuit of unity through understanding. As Maya and Ethan grappled with their newfound status as beacons of change, the scope of their journey expanded beyond the realm of science into the heart of societal transformation. The alliance they had formed with Azure and the Zalorians now stood at the forefront of a resistance that was as much about protecting the integrity of the truth as it was about navigating the turbulent waters of change that they had themselves unleashed. Their mission had evolved into something far greater than they had imagined, a pursuit no longer confined to dusty relics and forgotten scripts, but to the very essence of galactic coexistence. As they faced the tidal wave of implications their findings had induced, Maya and Ethan held steadfast to the hope that this tectonic shift could herald the dawn of a new, enlightened epoch. Chapter 9: The Galactic Uprising. The seeds of unity that Maya Chambers and Ethan Sinclair, alongside Ambassador Azura of the Zalorian Council, had sown began to sprout across the galaxy. Once isolated voices speaking against General Lucius Steele's regime now swelled into a chorus of defiance. The revelations of the ancient genetic blueprint acted as a catalyst, uniting disparate factions under the banner of shared knowledge and a common ancestry. On Lucier, amidst the buzz of renewed scientific vigor, Maya and Ethan felt the undercurrent of change. Researchers from various disciplines began pooling their expertise, eager to contribute to a new chapter in galactic understanding, inspired by the open defiance Maya and Ethan had displayed. The entire academic community is energized, Maya remarked, surveying their bustling lab. We're no longer working in the shadows. This feels like a renaissance. Ethan, who had returned from a series of discreet meetings with his contacts across the council, concurred, and not just here. Reports are flooding in from all corners. Protests, debates, calls for Steele's resignation. And for a reconvening of the alliance, Azura interjected, her holographic form crisp and determined against the backdrop of the lab. The movement you've ignited is transcending boundaries. It's about more than genetics or history. It's about the will of a galaxy yearning for authenticity and peace. The resistance's momentum culminated in a galaxy-wide protest that rippled like a wave from system to system. Planets that had once cowered under Steele's influence now openly challenged his authority, demanding an end to the age of manipulation. Eyes glistening with a fusion of pride and the magnitude of the moment, Maya said, "We must keep this momentum." The shadows Steele casts are long and filled with desperation. Ethan, his demeanor stoic yet resolved, added, "We will keep the fires burning. Steele's regime is faltering, and we'll push through until the veracity of our science prevails." As resistance bases emerged on moons and outposts, serving as hubs for strategic planning and refuge, the trio stood as symbols of a potential new dawn. Maya's scientific acumen, Ethan's adventurous spirit, and Azura's diplomatic finesse formed a triad that guided the uprising, their conviction fueling rebellion against the darkness of ignorance and fear. As the chapter of resistance unfolded, Maya Chambers, Ethan Sinclair, and Ambassador Azura, once humble players in the narrative of the Alliance, became leaders of a rebellion. A rebellion not born of violence, but of the powerful voice of knowledge, an uprising that transcended the stars themselves, shining as a beacon of hope in a time of tumultuous change. Chapter 10: The Fall of Shadows. The storm of resistance reached its zenith with Maya Chambers, Ethan Sinclair, and Ambassador Azura at the helm. Their concerted efforts, along with those of their allies, coalesced into a singular push against General Lucius Steele's stronghold, both physical and ideological. The fortress, a monument to Steele's reign, loomed with a menacing presence over the contested world that had become the fulcrum of the uprising. It was here where the final chapter of the struggle would be inscribed. This is the moment of truth. Maya's voice was a bastion of resolve as they approached the nerve center of Steele's operation. We dismantle his web of lies here, and we do it with the most powerful weapon at our disposal, the truth. Ethan, armed not with blasters, but with the encrypted data caches containing the revelations of the artifact, nodded. Then let's broadcast it for all the galaxy to hear. It's time for this regime of shadows to end. Ambassador Azura, rallying the networks of the resistance, added, I have secured a channel. Once we begin, there's no turning back. The fleets of the Zalorian Council support us, they will shield the broadcast. Under the cover of the Galactic Uprising, Maya, Ethan, and Azura infiltrated the stronghold. It was a daring operation that saw them navigate through a labyrinth of security measures and evade Steele's remaining loyalists. Finally, they stood before the Central Communication Array, a behemoth of technology that could send signals piercing through the cosmos. With a few deft movements, Maya uploaded the data, and with a confirming nod from Ethan and Azura, initiated the sequence that would forever alter the course of history. The broadcast was swift and penetrating, details of the genetic blueprint, evidence of historical unity among species, and an undeniable repudiation of Steele's doctrine flashed across the star systems. As the transmission flooded the galactic network, a shift was palpable. On ships, in academies, within governance chambers, and throughout the public squares of countless worlds, beings of all races listened, watched, and were awakened to the possibility of a future free from the chains of fearmongering and oppression. The stronghold, once a symbol of Steele's indomitable control, now became the epicenter of his undoing. In a climactic confrontation, Steele was apprehended, his visage that of a man outmaneuvered by his own hubris. His fall was not merely the end of one but the catalyst for the freedom of many. The ancient genetic blueprint, once a cryptic relic from a forgotten time, paved the way for a new chapter of unity and progress. Interstellar cooperation thrived as barriers erected by mistrust crumbled. With reverence, peoples of the galaxy embraced the shared heritage their ancestors had inscribed in the very fabric of their being. Maya, Ethan, and Azura stood amidst the remnants of the stronghold, not in triumph, but in solemn gratitude for the unity that had emerged from the discord. The epilogue of their saga would be written in the reconstruction and realignment of the Alliance, a symbol of how far the galaxy had come and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. A new era descended upon the stars, one where the varied hues of planetary cultures blended into a mosaic of understanding and collaboration, guided by the beacon of knowledge that Maya, Ethan, and Azura had protected and revealed. With reverence, they looked out upon a galaxy unshackled from shadows, its billion lights shining as a testament to unity and enlightenment. Epilogue: A New Dawn in the Galaxy. In the days following the broadcast, the dust of upheaval settled across the cosmos like a blanket of stars. General Lucius Steele's regime became a memory, one etched into the annals of history as a testament to the power of fear and the strength of hope to overcome it. The galaxy entered an epoch of unprecedented peace and collaboration. With the ancient knowledge laid bare for all, the Interstellar Alliance underwent a transformation. New policies emerged, guided by the principles of shared heritage and mutual advancement. worlds began to heal the wounds of division, finding common ground in the newfound understanding of their interconnected past. Maya Chambers, Ethan Sinclair, and Ambassador Azura were hailed as heroes of this new age. Celebrations resounded across planets, honoring the trio who had dared to challenge the darkness and uncover the light of truth. But for them, the victory was not about accolades, it was about the enlightenment and unification it heralded. It's a new beginning for all of us, Maya reflected as they overlooked the buzz of activity in Elucider's central agora, where once secret pacts were now made in the open. The artifact was a door to our shared history, and now it's a bridge to our future. Ethan, eyes glistening with the reflection of Elucider's gleaming structures, felt the weight of their journey lift. We charted the unknown, just as explorers of old. Now it's up to every being, on every planet, to carry this legacy forward. Ambassador Azura embraced the sentiment, her diplomatic resolve now softened by the hopeful glimmers shining in every citizen's eyes. Unity was once a horizon too distant to touch. Now, it is a landscape in which we live, diverse and whole. In the aftermath of rebellion and revelation, Elucider evolved. Once a solitary hub of scientific pursuit, it became a symbol of galactic unity. Research teams from different worlds collaborated openly, and discussions of politics and philosophy mingled with theorems and data. Through the doors of the Elucider Institute for Galactic Understanding walked dreamers and doers alike, united by the pursuit of knowledge. The artifact, now fully deciphered, sat in the Hall of Enlightenment, a beacon for those endeavoring to uncover the grand tapestry of the universe. Its once enigmatic script had inspired a movement that had culminated in a symphony of shared destiny. As the stars continued their timeless dance above, the legacy of Maya, Ethan, and Azura's journey blossomed, inspiring new generations to reach for the infinite possibilities that awaited among the stars. The galaxy had witnessed the dawn of a new day, one in which every light, no matter how faint, contributed to the morning's brilliance. And so, with the ancient secrets now part of the common lore, the future unfurled, a vast, open expanse for the unified galaxy to explore, an interstellar odyssey fueled by the power of unity and the eternal quest for knowledge among the heavens.